Hello everyone. Guess what? We got some photos of the ZF. Hopefully this is the finished product. I'm going to go through these photos with you guys today to let you know what I see and see if it's what we're going to get based upon the information we've received so far. So join me as we get started in today's video. All right, so let's get started checking out the video. We'll start with photo number one. So from what I can see in photo number one, it looks like there's a record button on the front. Pictures seem like this is actually kind of close to what an F3 should look like, which isn't bad, which is kind of what people have been saying this thing should look like. So we're hoping that it'll be close enough to it. There's a slight bump out for the grip. Not as big as I was expecting, but again, if it's an F3, you know, this is kind of what we're expecting to see. So I guess that's a good thing. It's kind of like a DF. The depth of it, it seems pretty decent sized. But before we get into that, couple things. Yeah, the ZF logo is going to be on the right side of the camera. And I like the fact that there's a scroll wheel for the aperture up front. On the ZF, there was like that little wheel that you have to turn in front of the camera. It was useful, but you know, I prefer where it looks like a DSLR or mirrorless, where it's just a wheel in the front that you can turn. So that's a cool thing. Looking up top, I can see that there's a little red dot up top that tells me that that should be the record button right in front of the camera. There's a first wheel. I'm gonna guess that is probably gonna be the exposure compensation wheel. I can't see any markings on it from looking at it in this photo, so I'm just guessing. The second control that looks right there, it seemed like that's where the shutter button is going to be. And then there's a third wheel with, well, two controls. Seems like there's one up top, one on the bottom. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work out, but let's go check out the other photograph and see what that looks like. See if we can get a better look at what we can see on that one. Second photo is of the back. From what I can see here, the layout is kind of similar. You know, display menu, zoom in, zoom out, the wheel. There is one thing that is missing though, and that's like the little nipple, what do you call it, the directional control. The pad is there, and that's usually what I kind of use because it's kind of close where my thumb is to move around the focus point. So getting rid of that other one, it's not a big thing for me because I really don't use that often. So that's kind of cool that they remove that, but you still have enough space on there for it. The eye menu is there. And there's the AEL, autofocus exposure lock and autofocus lock. And there's the lock button right above that one. That's not usually where they have that. That's kind of different. But the screen, the hinge looks a bit on the bulkier side. That means it's bulky. From how it looks, it seems as though it's only going to be just a flip out. It doesn't seem like it's going to have any fancy contraption like I'd have wanted from the A7R5. So maybe we're not going to get that. If this is the actual finished product, who knows? All right, let's get up to the top area. I can see there's a little lever, and you can see the icon for movie, camera, and there's a W there, which confirms the black and white option as a direct selection from a dial, not through the menu, which is not too bad. We kind of heard about that one, and that's a quick way to kind of jump in there while they get in the menu. So, you know, one thing I talk about is whether or not this camera is going to have better dynamic range from this new sensor that they said it's going to be put in the camera. We will see if that actually turns out to be something or not. You know, my mind likes to speculate beyond what we've heard and see if we can get something along those lines. But we'll see when everything comes out. The lever on the left-hand side, there is definitely something there. But again, we haven't gotten the picture of the top dial, so we can't see what the markings are up there or what this does. But it does look like there's two wheels, so why would it be two? Why would you need that? What would the bottom one do? I don't really know. So if we go by what the DF had on it, you had the lower button for ISO, and the top button was exposure compensation. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the same thing, since I kind of figured the other wheel may be exposure compensation. But looking at the DF photo, that other wheel that we had on it actually is what allowed you to select from your program, shutter, aperture, and manual mode. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the same on this. But again, this one has 2 wheels. It definitely looks a little bit different. Who knows what we'll actually see in the end. So we're only speculating as far as what we think it could be. We're not for sure what's going to be up there. So until we get new photographs, you know, again, it's speculation as far as what we think is going to be up there. Now the third photo shows that the screen is flipped out. And looking at it, it seems as though the screen is kind of turned inwards. It's on the left-hand side. There are 4 screws that's holding it in place on that side, and I guess it's to keep the hinge in a stronger area. There's no ribbon cable. There doesn't look like anything that you can flip out and in a portion. So it seemed like it's the standard flip out screen, just like we would see on the ZFC. Again, not a bad thing. You know, it's what we have. That's what we have to work with. So just going by that, there don't seem to be too many other details to really suss out of this. Of course, the eye cup is in a round area, and the diopter control is not going to be on the right hand side. So standard thing, you know, shutter or aperture wheel on the bottom. Looks kind of cool. Overall, you know, I can't tell the thickness from this, but again, they didn't actually say what it is, but I'm thinking it's going to be a fairly beefy camera to handle 4K 60 with no fan. Nobody says how long it will record 4K 60, so that's yet to be told. All right, so now that we've seen some pictures, I'm curious to hear from you guys what you think. Do you like what you see? Is it something that you want to pick up? Do you have an idea what these controls are or what they could be? Love to hear from you guys. To me, it looks, you know, like it should be a substantial camera. I was hoping for a bigger bump in the grip area, but who knows? Maybe like the DF, they'll have some kind of half case or something that can give you like a slightly bigger grip. I have to see the camera in person when it comes out to decide what it is. But for now, it looks pretty good. It's a nice camera. Kind of throw back to the F3. So those of you guys who wanted something like the F3, you may be happy with this. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the little breakdown that I just gave. And if you loved the video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.